First off, none of you are acknowledging that birth control can fail. It's not women making mistakes. Secondly, stop saying, what is wrong with the federal government not meddling with personal issues? Abortion should be left to the voters of each state. So the arguments I have for that, abortion is a fundamental, like, woman's bodily autonomy rights issue. For the same reason, we don't want states to being able to vote for to like legalize slavery, because it's bodily autonomy, it's human rights. We don't want states to be free to vote against women's bodily autonomy. The baby is not the woman's body. It's not a baby, it's a fetus. Bodily autonomy isn't a right, quite clearly. We limit people's bodily autonomy all the time. We only limit people's bodily autonomy when there is a more important concern that justifies it, okay? The way I see it, vaccination, for example, the breach of bodily autonomy caused by vaccination is justified because it's a societal safety issue. So the safety of all the people trumps the bodily autonomy of a single person. However, the bodily autonomy of a single person is not trumped by the bodily autonomy of a fetus. The way I view things. The authoritarian thinks it's okay to force medicine in me. You aren't forced to take medicine, okay? No one forced you to take the vax, like, anywhere, regardless. The fetus is still a developing human with a heartbeat. Yes, it's a developing human. And I put more value to the well-being of a developed human than a developing human. You said it's justified. Yes, what I was justifying is the mandates for vaccines in order to have access to basic societal institutions. Like, if you want to put your children in school, they have to be vaccinated. I'm not even talking about the COVID vaccine, but yeah, like banning you from going to sports events, and they force you to take it or lose your job. Yeah, that actually is something where I'm not 100% on. So you're an authoritarian. No. I think that societal safety is a real important argument to take into account. Would you say it's authoritarian when you're not allowed to take a gun on a plane? If you want to go to college in the US, you need measles, mumps, rubella shots. There's precedence. Yeah, exactly. Is it a loaded gun? Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. I mean, I didn't expect you to understand the concept of an analogy, DLAC, but that's what it is. Out of curiosity, do you find abortion morally neutral? That's a good question. The airline is a private company. Is there rules, not the government's? Oh my god. We literally have rules about what you can take on a plane. It's not a private company decision. And why? Because planes are fucking dangerous, and we don't want to leave it to companies to make those decisions. If you're advocating for airlines making their private decisions about what's safe and what's not, you're literally advocating for another 9/11. No, you're wrong. Corporations are people too. Oh man, from abortion to vaccines to guns, hitting all the topics. Do you find abortion morally neutral? I need to think about that one for a second. Look, I'll say something. First off, if someone is pro-life and they don't support a state-subsidized full-on adoption system, for example, in France, if you have a baby and you don't want to take care of the baby, you can give birth to it and give it away for adoption anonymously. The state will take care of everything. They will take the baby, take care of it, and you'll never have to hear about it again. There will be no ties at all to it. It will go and get adopted in another family. If you don't have a good system for that, then already, like, any argument against abortion is fucking dumb. Like, you're saying you care about the baby's life, but you want to force people to take care of children they don't want. That's fucking insane. That's sociopathic. You can in the US too, at least in my state. Good. Is it moral to push your own morality on other people? See, the answer to that question is whether you believe in moral relativism, in which case you need to constantly balance out whether the fact that other people's perspectives can be just as valid as your own, or if you believe that there are some objective moral truths. I do believe that there are some objective moral truths. I don't want to live in absolute moral relativism. I do recognize, however, that moral relativism is in some way a correct description of reality. That different people view themselves as morally, objectively correct compared to other people. And that is something we have to navigate in discourse and in interacting with each other. However, I do genuinely believe that some of my positions are morally, objectively the better ones. This is probably one of them. Don't you think it's sociopathic to kill a baby? Yeah, killing babies is probably pretty fucking bad. But killing fetuses, I don't think that's as bad, no. I just, look, I said earlier when talking about this, fucking I don't care what you do with your fetuses, okay? Fucking eat them for all I care. Even if you want to restrict access to abortion rights, there are so many caveats that the more extreme pro-lifers just don't want to take into account that are really fucking important. I'm talking about the need to have access to abortion in case of sexual assault, in case of medical problems. Well, I think those are the two main ones. It goes the same way with COVID, right? They wanted to force masks and vaccines to protect the other person, but are okay with murdering the baby because it is inconvenient to raise the child. No, murdering a fetus, not a baby. Stop talking about babies. Babies are individuals that have been born. You're muddling the conversation with a morally charged language that is just objectively wrong. We're talking about fetuses. You're talking about abortion as birth control? Yeah, I know. I don't fucking care. And regardless, overturning Roe v. Wade makes it legal to ban abortion totally. Not to discount, for example, in Poland, where there's extremely restrictive abortion laws, technically, in the law, you're allowed to have access to abortion if you've been a victim of sexual assault. But do you realize what that entails? You need to have an actual court ruling that recognizes the sexual assault to get access to abortion. So you actually don't get access to abortion. You just don't. Right now, women refugees who escaped Ukraine, who've been raped by Russian soldiers, don't get access to abortion in Poland, even though technically they should have access to it. You also have to think about what the reality is of those things. If you need a fucking court case to go entirely through and convict someone in order to have access to your to aborting your sexual assault, your rape baby, then you're in a fucked up system. My body, my choice went out the window with COVID. And you can disagree with my argument that I gave earlier, but I do have an argument for why those are different situations. The societal well-being, the safety of society is different from the bodily autonomy of a fetus. Though we're talking about completely fucking different scales of bodily autonomy being at play here. So a woman makes a mistake in courtship and we should just turn our heads while she murders a baby. First off, none of you are acknowledging that birth control can fail. Birth control can actually fail, okay? It's not women making mistakes. Secondly, stop saying baby. It's fucking fetuses. And I don't disagree. I honestly don't necessarily disagree with setting a limit on abortion. Like you're talking third trimester. I'm still gonna say baby. You're talking third trimester, Mark Murda. I think I would be okay with that. I don't know. I would have to listen to like what abortion advocates have to say about that, because I'm sure they're far more educated on the issues that surround would surround that. But intellectually speaking, that's not a bad line to draw. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Mark Murda. I'm okay with. I'm saying sure. Let's do abortion until the second trimester and not the third. I'd abort a baby in the fifth. I don't give a fuck. I don't see how the month changes any of the ethical issues. And personally, I don't give a fuck either. Like on a personal level. However, I do recognize that for political expediency, we have to. Most people will not agree with a blanket legalization. Most people will probably, you'll get a lot more people in support of an abortion rights bill if you do set some sort of limit that seems reasonable. I'm trying to acknowledge that reality of like the political reality. I personally, I said it earlier, you can fucking eat your fetus for all I care. Heartbeat is acceptable, sure. Rape babies are less than 1% of abortions, but is one of the main talking points the left uses. Just as a blanket ban on abortions is one of the main talking points the right uses, which is why we need to keep talking about those things. I'm not saying it as a be-all, end-all, and I understand your point, Mark Murda. I understand that as far as you're concerned, like you want the heartbeat to be the limit. And once again, I don't want to strawman you. I understand that me talking about rape babies doesn't address your position. That's not your position. But there is a very real and strong position in U.S. society of, like, usually religiously motivated, of just a blanket ban on abortions. And those are the people who need to hear about rape babies and etc., etc. Those are the people who need to hear about the women dying in Poland because of restrictive abortion laws, because the medical procedures aren't legal to enact. Who on the right advocates a blanket ban? I've not seen this generally. Sure, some, but if the standard is someone said it, then we'll be here all century. Fair enough. Look, there are some fucking crazy Republican politicians, but that's fair. That's fair. I am like singling out the like really most extreme perspectives here. That's a fair criticism, Cooper. I'll acknowledge that. What I'm saying is there's always a scenario where an abortion is needed. But using the position of abortion as women's health is also extreme. Why is that extreme? Babies are not parasites, they're human beings. Babies, yes, but fetuses, no. That's my whole point. I genuinely don't see a fetus as a fully fledged human being. Yeah, and there are crazy lefties who said we should be able to have post-birth abortion. Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, your remark is super fair, Cooper. I acknowledge that. An unwanted baby is literally a parasite, yeah. I'm not American, so does this mean the end of abortion in the USA, or is this state by state? State by state. It's not passed yet, it could change still, and it's state by state. So the legal argument does have salience, Cooper, and this is something I talked about earlier while reading the article. There is a fair argument there. The problem is, this is actual accelerationism. If you support a Supreme Court's overturning because you believe it will lead to a good change in the US politics, like an actual push to codify abortion rights into law, the problem there is that you accept very real harm done to real human beings just out of procedure. And I'm really, really bothered about that. That's not what I view as morally right, personally. That being said, yes, you have definitely a point about it. And I also want to add to that, in that there is a very real problem in past Dems politics. Obama promised to codify abortion rights into federal law. He actually had a supermajority. He did not do that. His administration did not do that. That is a real problem that we're facing now. And Biden promised the same thing, which, to be fair, he doesn't actually have the political capital to pass it. But I don't know if any previous Dem presidents promised to pass it either. It's a good thing if the Supreme Court of the US decides to send it back to the states. It's where it belongs, closer to the people that it directly affects. Even if SCOTUS chooses to throw out Roe v. Wade, there's still 15 states that have legal abortion. It's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. It will cause very real harm to very real people. And women are really bothered by that. They can move to the states where they have that right. That's the beauty of it. No, just move forehead is extremely, extremely privileged of a position to take. It's a disgusting position to take of you can just move. Most people who are going to be affected by this do not have that luxury, and it really is a luxury. It's extremely blind to make those kinds of arguments. I'm sorry. The conversation I see is a deeper conversation about why we designate fetuses as fetuses, when do we do so, and what that means. Where does it change? Why does it change? Is there a better objective standard? That's an interesting conversation, yes. I agree.